In this video, I'm going to show you step by step how I apply a trailing stop loss within my winning trades. I already went ahead and opened a new short position, obviously for the sake of this video. You can see this position is currently in profit, almost 100% in profit. Again, this is what I always talk about, that with regards to all my analysis, we're always making about 50% to 100%, even 200% within a single trade. Now, how do you actually go about applying a trailing stop loss on a winning trade? Again, it's not all the trades where you should be applying a trailing stop loss, but let's dive into more details and understand the intricacies of a trailing stop loss. The trailing stop loss really enables you to take advantage of the price movement, especially when the price is moving in your favor. So you may find that sometimes you have a trade that is moving in your direction. If you predicted that the market's gonna go down and you started shorting from here, and then markets came down and started going down even further, instead of taking profits from here, you are better off putting something called a trailing stop loss, right? So you're putting a trailing stop loss instead of just putting a normal stop loss or TP. So that's what we want to talk about in this video. When do you actually apply a trailing stop loss? Because it's not all the trades where you should be applying a trailing stop loss. Otherwise, you just will end up losing more money than what you would have initially made had you just closed the trade initially. So we need to understand, where do we actually apply a trailing stop loss? If you've been following throughout this course here, again, if you just stumble across this video, this is the step-by-step guide into futures trading, where I take you step by step with regards to everything you need to know to trade the futures market successfully. So like I said, it's not all the trades that you're holding on your trading account where you should be applying your trailing stop loss. If you've been watching all our classes, you realize that we've been closing all our trades above 50%. So some of our trades, we close them in 80%, 100%, 150 or 200% in profit, which means that we are capitalizing more and more as the trade is moving in our favor. But we could use something called a trailing stop loss. A trailing stop loss really enables you to take advantage of the price movement should the price keep falling down. For example, if you were trading something called Luna before the crash, you would have profited because the market was not necessarily retracing that much. Again, when you're actually putting a trailing stop loss, you can calculate the percentage of the price retracement, because you need to allow the market enough breathing, meaning enough price fluctuating before that trailing stop loss is hit. So if you were trading Luna just kept going down. So if you had a trailing stop loss, instead of just closing the trade at a specific point, you would just put your trailing stop loss and watch as the magic happened, because the price never really bounced back up so quickly. So that's when you actually use a trailing stop loss. So maybe before we apply a trailing stop loss, let's first understand in detail what is it. So after you've done your analysis and you've realized that the market has actually broken support, this is where we go short as traders. So from here, you actually measure from the opening of the mouth to the closing of the mouth as shown in our previous classes. You'll then bring this over here, and this right here will be your take profit. So how do you actually apply a trailing stop loss? Well, when you're applying a trailing stop loss, you're basically giving a range within the price. So you're actually telling the system that if the price comes to this level and retraces back to the previous point, that's when you want the system to trigger an automatic sell order. So let's see how the market plays out. From here, we can see that the market actually came to touch this point. If this was a price difference of, let's say, $20, you're basically telling the system at this point that if the price goes down and comes back up by a range of $20, you want the system to trigger an automatic sell order. So that's how you apply a trailing stop loss. This is applicable whether you're going long or you're going short. Now in my case here, you can see that I have a trade that I placed yesterday just for the sake of making this video. From the time of actually placing this trade, it has actually dropped by about 11%, but it's now currently trading at around about 8%, right? So which means that if this trade obviously was at 11%, we were looking at around about 110% here in profit, and right now we are at 84%. So when you're actually applying a trailing stop loss, you basically telling the system that, hey, from the current trading price, if it drops by 2%, the system will then trigger an automatic selling stop loss. But in an event whereby you really want to use the trailing stop loss, you just come here and add the trailing stop loss. And here you can see it says the stop loss will be triggered when the last traded price retraces from the best price by X amount of money, right? And this is where you put the X amount of money or the percentage depending on how you calculated that, right? So when the market retraces back by X amount of money, then it will automatically trigger a selling stop loss. Again, for you to be able to measure the trailing stop loss, you need to measure and calculate how much will that be.